Hey, so my sister-in-law reminded me, where's the video? I was like, oh crap. Life has really been lifing lately. And pretty much I've just only been able to just hold on to the straps of life and just keep moving. This week, my youngest started his senior year, so that was very emotional for those that know, because it's exciting, but at the same time you're like, geez, I have no more babies. After he graduates, he's a senior, that's it. I have 3 kids, they're all grown now. So I had to wrestle with that at the same time doing interviews and all the other stuff. So to the interviews. I know the last time I spoke with you guys, I'd mentioned that I was ghosted by a recruiter. Well, she actually did reach out to me. Apparently there were some storms where she was and she didn't have internet access. So we did meet up, rescheduled it. She didn't show up for the Zoom, but she called me and we spoke about a role that was here locally where I am located. Super amazing role. I was excited about it. She let me know that she'll be reaching out to me to set up the interview with the hiring manager. Unfortunately, I got an email, which wasn't even for her, which was kind of weird, where they actually are pausing hiring because currently they're needing to reevaluate some things, which is one of those situations that I don't know, a lot of people may have come across this. Is there are a lot of roles that I am applying for and some of my colleagues and friends where if you look at an email where they pause the role, it could be either usually in some situations they're realigning it, or it could be budget. It could be several different things, but I was just a little disappointed in that one. One of the other interviews that I had was for independent medical exam role, and it was a leadership role. That one was kind of weird. It was one of those situations that I wanted to touch on where the recruiter, I felt, didn't do their due diligence. He was super nice. I met with him. He had my resume. We went over the resume. And then when I, of course, got in front of the hiring manager, Independent Medical Exam, the company, I won't say the name, they are this company that they look at, workers' comp claims, and they check for fraudulent things. Or if you're saying, I can't work because my back is sore, but then you're at the golf club, or you're just you're running and you're lifting weights in the gym, but you're filing a claim saying your back is in pain. So they're that type of company. So during the interview process, he asked was on a scale from 1 to 10, how familiar I am with it. And I was very honest, because one of the things that I pride myself on is you don't want to ever oversell yourself and then get in a situation where you have no earthly idea what you need to do. And I pride myself on that, regardless of how somebody else may feel. So I answered honestly, and then towards some of that interview, I asked, because it's a two-way street when you're doing an interview, what are you trying to achieve with this role? Where are you trying to go with this particular role? Because I remember the recruiter telling me that it was a brand new role. He says, the hiring manager, he wants someone that is going to create policies and has lived in that world. So at that point, I was like, you know what, let's pause. That is not something that I have done and that I would be able to provide for you. And hiring manager, I guess, was a little shocked, but excited, and paused and was like, you know what, I respect that wholeheartedly, that you said that, because and I was like, yeah. And he was like, if I have any other roles, I would definitely reach out to you. Now my husband was at first like, what? But I think a lot of people that get it. Don't sit there and interview and continue to go on with something that you're not qualified for at that particular point. And I know someone somewhere is going to be like, fake it till you make it. No, that is the worst advice that you can ever give somebody, in my opinion, because I can't tell you how many people have walked into a room and they're on that fake it till you make it, and you're in a room where you get only one shot, and if you show these people that you don't have it, then you're kind of excommunicated from the whole process, and you don't ever want that. So cool there. Second interview that I had was with a mental health company. I was a little leery because I am always on Glassdoor. You have to be careful, because everything you take with a grain of salt. Some people you can tell are disgruntled about a process, but every now and then when you're reading something, this was a true interaction. And on the interview section for this company, which this is a new thing as well, a lot of companies might ask you to do a case study for part of their interview process, or they may ask you to do a presentation. It's annoying because if anyone has done a presentation or a PowerPoint, it takes time, and that's something that you're not being paid for. So a lot of people, a lot of my colleagues, they get frustrated about it, but we do it because we want a job, right? So you're gonna do it, but it's frustrating because that's something you're not getting paid, and that's time that you're not gonna get back, especially if they don't move forward with you. So really multiple people felt that they did the case study and it was more about them wanting to learn different processes because they're a fairly new virtual mental health company. One person flat out was working, I guess, in a similar field, said that they were more interested in how she's doing certain processes and struggles that they're dealing with and how they're overcoming those particular struggles. So she felt that they were just trying to get ideas and poach, and that kind of raised a lot of red flags among other things. So the recruiter sets up this interview. It's supposed to be WebEx, and they have this new system where now there's a system that it'll take notes. They were real big in the email descriptions telling me it's gonna take the notes, that way the recruiter can basically focus on you. Well, I get on the interview, and first off, he didn't even have his camera on. And then the way that he explained that role was horrible. I was scared and not wanting to go through it, but I was like, you know what, I'm still gonna go through the motions because I know usually 9 times out of 10, once you get in front of the hiring manager, it's a totally different story. So I get in front of the, hiring manager, and the way that they explained it, because this is a startup company, and one of my dear friends was like, with a startup company, you may be a senior manager, but with all of the tasks that they have you doing, you're technically the VP because they want you to do as much as possible, because of course sometimes they don't have the funding right away to hire a client engagement person or hire just someone strictly that handles all their projects and sales and vice versa. So you will be all of the above. But the pay has to reflect all of the above, which sometimes it doesn't and sometimes it does. So I get in front of the hiring manager nervous because it seems like from the recruiter they were gonna have me having 10 different departments, like a billing and an IT department reporting to me. And usually your IT department has its own leadership, your billing has its own leadership, and billing is so important because that's how you get paid. You really want your own leadership eyeballing that. Well, the hiring manager, when I met with them, was freaking wonderful. Explained it. I actually was pretty excited about the role, but they actually did not select me. Again, they're a mental health company. I have never in my life been turned down for a position, but it was so positive and reflective that I didn't even feel bad about them turning me down. I was like, oh, it was the most refreshing thing ever, the way that they worded that, and they offered to give me feedback. So I emailed them and I asked them for that feedback, and they actually gave me very constructive feedback of where they felt, why I wasn't a good candidate for that particular role. But they also gave me so much about the positives and the things that they were super, excited about that I showcased during that interview, which was very refreshing because a lot of times you don't get feedback from companies. Even internally, when you apply for roles, some companies are supposed to basically give you, if you're an internal candidate, feedback about how you did on your interview. Child, you never hear about that. But that was those interviews. I'm still, waiting to hear from a hybrid role out of Houston. And I was kind of warned ahead of time during that process that they take a long time. But the feedback I got is, they still haven't heard anything yet. So fingers crossed, I guess no news is good news. Still interviewing because I'm still a free agent until somebody says, hey, we're gonna hire you. As far as McDonald's goes, it's going. I am having fun doing it. I know that sounds crazy. You meet amazing people. It's a very humbling and super engaging experience. I don't speak Spanish, but I speak Spanish. Those that know what I mean. I can't speak Spanish to you, But if you're telling me something, I know what you're talking about. I know that sounds absolutely bonkers and bananas, but those that know, you get it. You get what I'm trying to say. Like, one of the shift leaders is telling me something and I knew exactly what she was trying to tell me without even telling me. So the other thing is, you know, I think I'm going close to a month. I think by the end of this week, my body isn't aching as much. My feet are fine. My toes, my toes are no longer paining, which is great. I think it's weird though for you corporate Monday through Friday ladies, like now having 2 days off in the middle of the week is super weird for me. So I'm off like Wednesday, Thursdays. That's been really weird. I don't know what to do with myself because typically when I take a day off during the week in the corporate world, it was doctor's appointment or something, you know, for the kids. So that's been taking some getting used to. You meet different people, and I'm working the drive-through right now that come in the morning and come in the afternoon, and they start to identify your face. And I've always been a talker, like even in school. Like I was that student where if you moved out in the moved me in the hallway, I was still gonna talk. If you moved me to your desk, I was still gonna talk to you. That's just how I was. Trust me, my mama was annoyed from all the phone calls from school, but whatever. So it's nice meeting people. I didn't think I would get that type of, you know, environment working at a McDonald's, especially working in a drive-thru, because, you know, I used to work at Waffle House. Yes, these hands are certified. And everybody knows working as a waitress, you have those people that are in the community that constantly go to a particular location. So you do wholeheartedly start to, you know, get familiar with them, what they eat, what they like, how they take their coffee. And that's why they keep coming back, because they love to see a smiling face. But I know it sounds cheesy. So I'm still out here. I'm still, you know, applying. And hopefully pretty soon I'll be able to send this to all my friends and you guys will be like, hey, I got a job. So I will say in closing, because I don't want this video to be too dang long, please take care of your mental health. It is a struggle out here, and I think that's why a lot of friends are like, I need to like definitely push this out more, because a lot of people that have degrees and experience, we're all out here trying to find work. But I will tell you, one of the biggest things is, yes, you can teach someone any job, but right now employers are looking for those that have it. Like, you have to know it is the difference than prior. They're not trying to teach people. You're either coming on and you're knowing what you know, or you're not getting to the next round. Is the experiences that I am having. So hopefully, like I said, we'll soon have some exciting news. But this was just my update. I'm about to get out here and hit these streets. So that was my update, y'all. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.